Shabbat Shalom to everyone. What a beautiful day to be in the house of Yahweh, right? You know, when you get in the habit of looking forward to the Shabbat, looking forward to that rest and change from your daily cares and labors, and a day to set aside all of those things that we worry about each day and struggle with maybe throughout our days. He says, just come unto me and I will give you rest. My burden is light. So if you got a lot of burdens this morning, just leave them outside, and that the Father will give you peace, and that he will take all of your burdens. So we're going to go into this Torah portion. Beshalach means when he let go. So we could use that word in different ways. When you let go of all your worries and let the Father have them, you'll be a lot better. So Beshalach, let those things go. Don't hang on to those things that worry you every day, and that maybe some offense that you picked up from something that somebody said or whatever it might be. He says, let it go. Let those offenses go. And to look to him for peace and understanding. So as we go into this Torah portion, it's in Exodus 13:7 through Exodus 17:16. And, you know, as we find as we go through these Torah portions that it seems to echo with what is going on in the world around us. If we look into a little bit deeper some of the things, and not just look at this is some historical thing that took place a long time ago, but this, you know, the scripture says that what was will be again. So it's a good idea if we take a lesson and we take a look at some of those things that have taken place in the past and how that they are maybe taking a place around us today, and see how that those people reacted, and see if are we reacting the same way, are we better, or have we learned our lessons, so to speak. So Exodus 14:4 says, and I will harden Pharaoh's heart, that he shall follow after them, and I will gain honor over Pharaoh and over all of his host, that the Egyptians may know that I am Yahweh. And they did so. So this is a little bit into the Torah portion where that Pharaoh has actually let them go out. And we know it's only after a lot of pressure that has been applied to him and all of his nation. It took down to the very death of his firstborn to put enough pressure for them to let them go. But then it says, when he let them go, then he said, I will harden Pharaoh's heart. And it was told the king of Egypt that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and of his servants was turned against the people. And they said, why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? So now we're going to have to do all this work ourselves. What'd we do? Why did we do this? You know, even without an army. You know, one thing you would say, well, you know, this was accomplished without an army within, or even possibly an uprising. It was only through the miracles of the Father that this was made so. And he made ready his chariot, and he took his people with him, and he took 600 chosen chariots, and all the chariots of Egypt, and the captains over every one of them. He says, now we're going to see what's going to happen. I'll take my finest army out, And I guarantee you I'll bring them back one way or the other. But this was after the hardening of his heart by Jehovah. We might even wonder sometimes, I'm sure that all of us said, well, you know what, that's kind of harsh on God's part to harden his heart, you know. Didn't he even give the guy a chance to repent, or did he give him a chance to ask forgiveness, or what is the deal here? And maybe we might even thought, well, is that really fair? Might look in Romans 9:10, might give us some answers. And I'm sure that we've all pondered these things because we've seen different people being brought in for different circumstances for the glory of God that didn't turn out too good for them, that person. And we often maybe wonder. Romans 9:10 says, and not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of Elohim according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with the Elohim? May that never be so. Before these children were even born, before they'd done evil or good, God had already made a distinction between them. Had called them for a reason and a purpose. For he said to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So we begin to see the mind of the Father, how he looks at things and how he looks at people and so forth. And what are the reasons and purposes of certain people. And as we go on in Romans 9, so then it is not of him that wills, nor of him that runs, but of Elohim that shows mercy. For the scripture says unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all of the earth. Therefore hath he mercy on whom he will have mercy, and on whom he hardens. Thou wilt say then unto me, why doth he yet find fault? For who has resisted his will? Nay, but, O man, who art thou that repliest against Elohim? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? So may answer a few of your questions. Why that the Father chose certain people and chose to harden their heart and so on and so forth. It's always for the glory of his name, right? Throughout the earth. Going back to Exodus 14:8. And Yahweh hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued after the children of Israel. And the children of Israel went out with a high hand. You might think, well, that's kind of a strange thing. High hand. Well, we might comment a couple of things there. High hand was that that the Father created this happening, that they would leave, not only leave, but would leave with all their possessions, all of their children, all of their flocks, and all of the goods of Egypt, all the wealth. that they left with. But the Egyptians pursued after them, all of the horses and chariots of Pharaoh and his horsemen and his army, and overtook them and camped by the sea beside Philaroth, before Baal-Zeph. And when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them, and they were sore afraid. And the children of Israel cried out unto Yahweh. They said unto Moses, because there was no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt thus with us, to carry us forth out of Egypt? Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than we should have died in the wilderness. That's man's thinking, isn't it? Man's reasoning. It's hard to see the big picture, the broader plan, when we have our eyes fixed upon our own being and our own self. It's hard to see what is really the plan here that's being executed, being carried out. And we say, well, you know, man, I could have stayed and I had a house and I had bread. But remember back when they had all of that, they were crying out to the Father, help us. This is way too much labor that they've placed on us. Help us. But we always have a preconceived idea of how that God should answer us, right? We want him to answer us a certain way, a certain precision time, and so on and so forth. Going on in Exodus 14:13, and Moses said unto the people, fear you not, stand still and see the salvation of Yahuwah, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom you have seen today, you shall see them again no more forever. Yahweh shall fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. And Yahweh said unto Moses, wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. They wanted something done right there in their sight. Kill them right quick before they get here. Yahweh told Moses, says, just tell them to move forward. Go. Says, but lift thou up thy rod and stretch out thine hand over the sea and divide it, and the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. Amen. You know, none of these things take place without first we moving. The sea did not part until Moses put his rod out, right? And he told them to start moving. Same thing when they actually went into the land under Joshua. They had to cross the Jordan, and at particular time of the year, the Jordan was overfilling its banks. And he says, oh, how are we going to go across the Jordan with all these people, a couple million people? And what he told him? He told him, he says, have the priest step into the Jordan. And when they did, the Jordan divided like the Red Sea. So God does nothing unless we're going to move. If we're going to stand still and just sit there and wait on, well, take care of everything for us, God. When everything is, we think that's good, then we'll move. Then we'll go. Look at another example of this. This is in 2 Chronicles 20. starting with verse 1. We'll read this story that took place, and this is, of course, afterwards, many years afterwards, the crossing of the Red Sea. But it has the same kind of a story to it. It came to pass after this also that the children of Moab and the children of Ammon, and with them others besides the Ammonites, came against Jehoshaphat to battle. Now Jehoshaphat was the king of Judah at this particular time. This is after the tribes, the kingdoms had been divided. Yet they are fairly close where they are, and each had their own king. And Jehoshaphat was the king of Judah. And here are these Moabites, Moab and Ammon, and we know that actually these are close relatives of them, decided that they were going to come in battle and take them. Then there came some that told Jehoshaphat, saying, There cometh a great multitude against thee from beyond the sea on this side of Syria, and behold, they be in Hazazontamar, which is Engadea. And Jehoshaphat feared and set himself to speak to Yahweh, and proclaimed a fast throughout all of Judah. And Judah gathered themselves together to ask help of Yahweh. Even out of all the cities of Judah they came to seek Yahweh. So at least he was wise enough. He says, I'm not going to be able to uphold against this horde of people that are coming. I need Yahweh to help. And he called all to a fast and to praying and seeking. I will bless Yahweh. This is taken right out of the Psalms here that we'll put right in here. Psalms 34 says, I will bless Yahweh at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. This is where we find ourselves when we find ourselves in hard spots and things that people are coming against us and so on and so forth. That's why David's Psalms is so beautiful to use at these periods of time. My soul shall make her boast in Yahweh. The humble shall hear thereof and be glad. Oh, magnify Yahweh with me, and let us exalt his name together. I sought Yahweh, and he heard me, and he delivered me from all of my fears. They looked unto me and were lightened, and their faces were not ashamed. This poor man cried, and Yahweh heard him and saved him out of all of his troubles. The angel of Yahweh encampeth about them that fear him. The angel of Yahweh encamps round about them that fear him and delivereth them. Oh, taste and see that Yahweh is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him. So this is where our trust should lie. As we come back to this story, and said, O Yahweh Elohim of our fathers, art not thou Elohim in heaven? And rulest not thou over all the kingdoms of the heathen? And in thine hand is there not power and might, so that none is able to withstand thee? Art not thou our Elohim, who didst drive out the inhabitants of this land before thy people Israel, and gave it to the seed of Abraham, thy friend, forever? And they dwelt therein, and have built thee a sanctuary therein for thy name, saying, If when evil cometh upon us, as a sword, judgment, or pestilence, or famine, we stand before this house in thy presence, for thy name is in this house, and cry unto thee in our affliction, then thou wilt hear and help. That was one of the promises that was given actually way back to Solomon when he built the house. Remember when he dedicated the house? He says, come to this house and I will give you what you need. And going on, then upon Jazazel, the son of Zechariah, the son of Benaiah, the son of Zeel, the son of Mattaniah, a Levite of the sons of Aspa, came this man Asaph, or Asaph, he wrote many psalms. If you don't know that, you thought that all the psalms was David written. No, a lot of them were written by this man right here. Came the Spirit of Yahweh in the midst of the congregation, and he said, Hearken ye all Judah, and you inhabitants of Jerusalem, and thou King Jehoshaphat. Thus saith Yahweh unto you, Be not afraid, nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but Elohim's. Same words that he said unto Moses, right? Tell Israel, the battle is not yours, it's mine. Tomorrow go you down against them. Behold, they come up by the cliff of Zeh, and you shall find them at the end of the brook before the wilderness of Jeruel. You shall not need to fight in this battle. Set yourselves, stand you still, and see the salvation of Yahweh with you, O Judah and Jerusalem. Fear not, nor be dismayed. Tomorrow go out against them, for Yahweh will be with you. And Jehoshaphat bowed his head with his face to the ground, and all Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem fell before Yahweh and worshiping Yahweh. And they rose early in the morning and went forth into the wilderness of Tekoa. And as they went forth, Jehoshaphat stood and said, Hear me, O Judah, and you inhabitants of Jerusalem. Believe in Yahweh, your Elohim. So shall you be established. Believe his prophets, so shall ye prosper. And when he had consulted with the people, he appointed singers. Singers. Not bowmen, spearmen, gunmen, or whatever. Singers. Going to sing these people. Appointed singers unto Yahweh, that they should praise the beauty of holiness as they went out before the army, and to say, Praise Yahweh, for his mercy endureth forever. And when they began to sing and to praise, Yahweh set ambushments against the children of Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir, which were come against Judah, and they were smitten. If you read the whole story, you'll find that they killed each other. They turned against each other. And he said that the next morning as he looked out from the tower, the land was full of the dead bodies. He said it took them 4 days to go through and to take off all of the bounty from these people. All the gold, the silver, or whatever else that they might have had for 4 days. So, how mighty is our God? He's pretty mighty, isn't he? Going to read a little bit more of this story to really see what happens in the end. Is there a good ending to this story? So the realm of Jehoshaphat was quiet, for his Elohim gave him rest round about. And Jehoshaphat reigned over Judah. He was 35 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Azubbath, the daughter of Shihai. And he walked in the way of Asa, his father, and departed not from it, doing that which was right in the sight of Yahweh. Howbeit, the high places were not taken away, for as yet the people had not prepared their hearts unto the Elohim of their fathers. He was on the right path, but he didn't quite get there. In fact, if you read the whole end of the story, he made a pact with the king of Israel, which was a wicked king. And as a result, God destroyed him. So it just, I think, brings home to us that it's not what you have done, it's what are you doing today. We'll read the rest of Psalms 34 right here. The righteous cry, and Yahweh hears and delivers them out of all of their troubles. Yahweh is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saves such as be of a contrite spirit. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but Yahweh delivers him out of all of them. He keeps all of his bones, not one of them is broken. Evil shall slay the wicked, and they that hate the righteous shall be desolate. Yahweh redeems the soul of his servants, and none of them that trust in him shall be desolate. So what a promise that we can claim for our own. We may have afflictions, but he will deliver us out of them. Afflictions are usually learning tools, learning opportunities for us to learn. Looking at also Isaiah 44:1. It says, Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, in Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus saith Yahweh that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou, Jerusalem, whom I have chosen. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessings upon thine offspring. They shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the watercourses. And one shall say, I am Yahweh's. And another shall call himself by the name of Jacob. And another shall subscribe with his hand unto Yahweh, and surname himself by the name of Israel. Isn't that the period of time that we're seeing? Isn't that the spirit that we're seeing poured into people? They're finding their true identity. They can surname themselves Israel. Exactly. Pour out my spirit upon your seed and blessings upon your offspring. And going on in Isaiah 44, Thus saith Yahweh, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts. About Yeshua of hosts. I am the first, and I am the last. And besides me, there is no Elohim. I am the Aleph and the Tav. And who as I shall call and shall declare it and set it in order for me, since I appointed the ancient people. And the things that are coming and shall come, let them shew unto them. Fear you not, neither be afraid. Have not I told thee from that time and have declared it? Ye are even my witness. Is there an Elohim beside me? Yea, there is no rock. I know not one. So, what does it say? Who was that rock that followed him in the desert? Yeshua was that rock that followed him in the desert. They that make a graven image are all of them vanity, and their detectable things shall not profit, and they are their own witnesses. They see not, nor know, that they may be ashamed. So how many gods is there out there that see not, know not, yet are being followed by many people today? Instead of the Elohim that created this universe, hung the stars and moon in the sky. We're going to go back to Exodus 15. Exodus 15 and verse 22 says, I will prove them. Are we in that place? Is he proving us? So Moses brought Israel from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur. And they went 3 days into the wilderness and found no water. And when they came to Marah, they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore the name of it was called Marah. And the people murmured against Moses, saying, what shall we drink? And he cried unto Yahweh, and Yahweh showed him a tree, which when he had cast into the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance. And there he proved them. Interesting couple of words all linked together here. A statute and an ordinance. By taking a tree and throwing it into the water, making it sweet. And there he proved them. And he said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim, and will do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all of his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon you, which I have brought upon the Egyptians, for I am Yahweh that healeth thee. What a statute, what an ordinance, what a promise. Something that we get to participate in. Not just something that he's going to do and we don't have to worry about it. We get to participate in the keeping of his commandments, keeping of his statutes. Thereby he proves whether we will walk in his ways or not. Going to Exodus 16. I titled this, I'm Starving to Death. You ever, we see this in Scripture several different places. If you remember when Esau came in to his brother, I'm starving to death, give me something to eat. That didn't turn out too good either, did it? It says, and they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came into the wilderness of Sin. That should have been something right there. Going like, really? Is this the valley of sin? Actually, you can also look at that word. It was a goddess of the moon that they worshipped. If you want to really look into that. It says, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month after the departing out of the land of Egypt. Well, that's interesting. You just throw that in there, just, 1 month after they left. In fact, before this was, I guess, really talked about, what would this be? Second Passover, wouldn't it? Because if you remember, he said, when they come to him, they said, well, Father, what if people can't get there because of a journey or because of illness or because of this, that, and the other? And he set this provision. If you can't make the first Passover, here is the opportunity to make the second Passover. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said unto them, would that we had died by the hand of Yahweh in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full. For you have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. Wow. That's pretty dramatic, isn't it? Wow. I don't guess they'd ever heard of doing without or fasting. But once again, we're going to see how the Father proves them. It says, will you walk in my laws? Exodus 16:4. Then said Yahweh unto Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them, whether they will walk in my law or not. It shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which was they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gathered daily. And Moses and Aaron said unto all the children of Israel, at even then you shall know that Yahweh hath brought you out from the land of Egypt. And in the morning then you shall see the splendor of Yahweh, for that he hears your murmurings against Yahweh. And what are we, that you murmur against us? Of course, Moses and Aaron speaking. Says, you're not really murmuring against us. You know, we always, as human beings, looking for a reason that somebody else did it. Right? It's somebody else's fault. Couldn't have been us. I mean, you know, we've been wandering around here and we're doing what you're saying. Are we? So, it must have been Moses' fault. Exactly. And Moses said, this shall be when Yahweh shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to the full. For that Yahweh heareth your murmurings, in which you murmured against him. And what are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against Yahweh. And Moses spake unto Aaron, saying unto all the congregation of children of Israel, come near before Yahweh, for he hath heard your murmurings. And it came to pass, as Aaron spake unto the whole congregation of children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the splendor of Yahweh appeared in the cloud. Wow. What a manifestation. What if we saw that today? The splendor of Yahweh appeared in the cloud. If you remember, that was what he told him. He says, a cloud by day and a fire by night will lead you and will be your protection. Because, I mean, they're in the wilderness, out in the desert. It's like if you went to the Mojave Desert, the hottest place in America anyway, and you didn't have anything to cover you with, you wouldn't last very long. Yet that cloud followed them, cooled them. But he told them, he says, look toward the wilderness, and behold, the splendor of Yahweh appeared in the cloud. And Yahweh spoke unto Moses, saying, out of that cloud, in the presence of these people. Exactly. I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel. Speak unto them, saying, between the evenings you shall eat flesh, in the morning you shall be filled with bread, and you shall know that I am Yahweh your Elohim. And it came to pass that even the quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay round about the host. And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as the hoarfrost on the ground. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, what is it? Because that's the word manna means, what is it? It says, for they knew not what it was. And Moses said unto them, this is the bread which Yahweh hath given you to eat. Something that they had never seen before. We look up the word manna. It's 37:13. Gifor, It means properly a cover, that is, by implication, a tankard or covered goblet. Also, white frost as covering the ground, hoarfrost to cover over. And here's the interesting word, atonement. Purge, reconciliation. So that puts a little bit different idea on what this man is really for and about. To cover over, atonement, purge, reconciliation. This idea, what is it? We look in Mark 8:27. Yeshua went out and his disciples into the towns of Caesarea Philippi, and by the way, he asked his disciples, saying unto them, Whom do men say that I am? And they answered, John the Baptist. But some say Elijah, and others, one of the prophets. And he said unto them, But whom say ye that I am? And Peter answered and said unto them, Thou art the Messiah. Was this a picture of that manna? Coming in Yeshua's time, because truly he is the manna, right? To bring us our daily bread. So they were asking, what is it? What is this? Who is this? Peter knew. He says, You are the Messiah. In John 6:48 we say, Yeshua says, I am that bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead. This is the bread which cometh down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I will give you is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. Wonder, is he recognized as the manna today? I wonder. Revelations 2:17 talks about this. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the assemblies. To him that overcomes will I give to eat of the hidden manna. And will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knows, saving he that receives it. The hidden manna. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou may be rich, in white raiment, that thou may be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. And anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou may see. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him, and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I am also overcame, and am set down with my Father in his throne. You know, that's the very thing that we should all push toward. That goal is to be called an overcomer. Because that's what he says, that we should overcome the world, the flesh, and the devil. Overcomer. Because there's a bunch of promises to the overcomers. I'd like to taste of that hidden manna. Going back to our Torah portion, Exodus 16:6. But man could just not believe it. Couldn't believe it. This is the thing which Yahweh hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating. An omar for every man, according to the number of your persons, take you every man for them which are in his tents. And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more, some less. And when they did measure it with an omar, He that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating. This reminds us of the story of the Passover itself, right? That was the thing. They were to take a lamb for the size of their family, and there was nothing to be left over in the morning. And Moses said, let no man leave it till the morning. Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto Moses, but some of them left it until the morning, and it bred worms, and he stank, and Moses was wroth with them. He says, I told you. Well, we were just trying it out to make sure that you knew what you was talking about, you know. Plus, we didn't want to have to get up too early, because they had to get up early because when the sun come out, that frost went away. That manna went away. Says the early bird catches the worm. Maybe that's where that saying come from. So, and we're to call to take our daily bread early every morning, right? And he said unto them, this is that which Yahweh has said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Shabbat unto Yahweh. Bake that which you will bake today, and seethe that which you will seethe, and that which remaineth over lay up for you to be kept until the morning. And they said, oh, this has got to be a test, because you told us not to keep it over till the morning. We tried it, and it rotted, so I don't know. They told us on this 6th day that we need to make some for it. And they laid it up until the morning, as Moses bade, and it did not stink, neither was there any worms therein. And Moses said, eat that today, for today is a Shabbat unto Yahweh. Today you shall not find it in the field. Oh, but brother, I've got to work every day. I got a family to feed. I've got to be out there working. If I don't, I won't have a job. You know, it's 7 days a week here. Wow. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the 7th day, which is a Sabbath, in it there shall be none. And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the 7th day for to gather it, and they found none. How hard-headed are we that we have to be proven? He has to prove us on every point. Exodus 16:28, and Yahweh said unto Moses, how long refuse you to keep my commandments and my laws? See, for that Yahweh hath given you the Sabbath. Therefore he giveth you on the sixth day, the bread of 2 days. Abide you every man in his place, let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day. Well, you know, that's in that Old Testament. That's about those Israelites and Jews back there in those days. You know, we're in this new modern New Testament era. And God knows that we need to work and need to take care of our family. And what does it say in Mark? Mark 2:27. And he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. What does that really mean? We have an awesome God that created this whole universe, and he created one particular day for you. One day, he says, I made this day for you. In Mark 2:28, therefore the Son of Man is master also of the Sabbath. Even though he made this day for you and for us, he is the master of that day. not you. He didn't make it for you to go out and do whatever you wanted to give you a time and space to rest from your daily cares and labors and to look for that hidden manna. Of course, we see it from the very beginning. This is not something new that he just throwed in here in Exodus. It's in Genesis. Genesis 2:1. Thus in the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day Elohim ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all of his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the seventh day and sanctified it. What does sanctify mean? You can find it, number 69:42, to appoint, to consecrate, keep holy, proclaim, because that in it he had rested from his work which Elohim created and made. Going back to Exodus, we're going to Exodus 31:13. Look at this a little bit more. It says, Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths you shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am Yahweh that doeth sanctify you. Because you're keeping my sanctified day, you are sanctified. So this is from the very beginning. Remember, he says that the Sabbath was made for man. Why didn't he say the Sabbath was made for the Jews? Because that's what's being said when you talk about the Sabbath. Oh, that's that old Jewish Sabbath that he's talking about there. Yet we find it in the very beginning of Genesis, before there ever was a Jew upon this face of this earth. I know I'm speaking to the choir here, but it says, You shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that so shall be cut off from among his people. Well, he wouldn't do that. My God is a loving God. He doesn't kill. I live under grace. Yeah. It's lucky that you've got grace. But that's not going to continue to cover you, because you will be cut off from among his people. You may not physically die, but spiritually you are dying. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy to Yahweh. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day shall be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. What perpetual mean? Without end. It is a sign. What does a sign mean? The word in Hebrew is ot. It's number 226 in your Strong's Concordance. It means signal, beacon, evidence. It is the beacon or the evidence of this everlasting covenant between God and his people. Mark. Because you know that there is another mark. So we can read all about that in Revelation, you know, the mark of the beast. You ever really thought about what the mark of the beast really is? If this is the mark of the covenant between God and his people, what might be the mark between Satan and his people? could be. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. Hebrews 13:8. Yeshua the Messiah the same yesterday and today and forever. Oh, you mean he doesn't change? He doesn't change his mind? It says, for I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore you sons of Jacob are not consumed. He had ample opportunity to take care of them all right there in Egypt after all the murmuring and all these types of things. Even from the days of your fathers you are gone away from mine ordinances. This is Malachi 3:7, and have not kept them. Return unto me, and I'll return unto you, saith Yahweh of hosts. James 1:17, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. If truly Yeshua or Jesus came and changed the law, could you really trust him to maybe not change again? James 1:18, of his own will begat he us with the word of truth, that we should be of a kind of a first fruits of his creatures. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. Our brother James had a great handle on mankind and what we really need to do. Matthew 5:14, ye are the light of the world. A city that is set upon a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and honor your Father which is in heaven. That's really where the works comes in. As an example of that he has proved us. If we have been proved, we become the light that shines into this dark world. Matthew 5:17, think not that I'm come to destroy the law or the prophets. I'm not come to destroy, but to fulfill. And reading on in 18, for verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. The earth is still here. It hasn't passed yet. So we might look at the word fulfill right quick. Plero in the Greek, 41:37, says to make replete. That is literally to cram a net, level up or hollow. In other words, we want to cram everything into that. Or figuratively to furnish or impute, diffuse, influence, satisfy, execute, verify, coincide with a prediction, accomplish, fulfill, be, make, full, fully preached, perfect supply, fully preached. That is the outstanding word here. He come to fully preach the gospel. Not to change it, not to give you an excuse around it, because that's basically what he was telling even the leadership. You have made void my law, but you have used your traditions instead of my commandments. And he says, you have interpreted this law of the death. He said, I'll tell you, in reality, if you've already talked about your brother, you've already committed murder. So was he changing it? Was he doing it? No, he was telling them, really, this is really what it says. I'm going to fully preach it to you. From Webster's dictionary, you also see the word fulfill, to carry out something promised, desired, expected, predicted. Cause to be or happen, to do something, required, obey, to fill the requirements of. He walked it out every day. He didn't wait until Shabbat. He walked it every day. So that brings us to the end of our time here together. I hope that I know that a lot of this is replete, and but that is what we are to do, is to remind ourselves of what God has said from the very beginning, that He hasn't changed. He's not going to change. He's calling for us to change our heart, that we may follow Him the way that He wants us to do that, with a heart. Because that's what this New Testament is all about. I will put my laws into your heart, and I will be your God. So, to end with, may you rest in the shalom of the Shabbat. Shabbat shalom.
Thank you for watching a teaching from Emet HaTorah. If you are ever in the Odessa area, we would love to welcome you to our Shabbat service, 11 a.m. every Sabbath. For more information or for more teachings, feel free to find us on the web, www.emethatorohodessa.com. Also, you can find us on Facebook. Thank you. God bless you and your family. Shalom.